Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council for January 25th, 2018. And prior to the regular meeting, we did have closed session with 2 items, and there's no reportable action from those 2 items. So with that, I'd like to start with the flag salute. Jeannie, would you lead us, please?
Happy to. Please join me. So I'll rise. I pledge allegiance to
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Van, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Daniels.
Here.
Councilmember Fox.
Present.
Councilmember Slowey.
Present.
Vice Mayor Bruins.
Present.
And Mayor Miller.
Present.
Tonight's meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed caption and webcast at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Monday, January 29th at 9 a.m. on Channel 14, and a DVD copy is available for checkout from any library branch.
Thank you. Move on to approval of the agenda. Is there anything anybody wants changed?
Move approval, sir.
Motion is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? The agenda is approved. We can move on to the next item.
Next item is presentation number 4, recognition of the 2018 Republic Services Calendar Contest winners.
Good evening, Mayor Miller and members of the council. My name is Janice Downs. I am the Municipal Services Manager for Republic Services, and very excited to be here this evening. This is one of our favorite presentations that we offer to the council, and that is our winners for our annual poster competition. Each year, Republic Services hosts a poster competition, and the goal of the poster competition is to promote recycling and encourage, sustainable practices and environmental stewardship. And so each year we partner with San Juan Unified School District and Citrus Heights schools and teachers and students. Mary? And the poster contest is open to students in Citrus Heights schools in the San Juan Unified School District, as well as students living in Citrus Heights, and it encompasses grades K through 8. So each year, as I said, the goal is to promote environmental stewardship and to bring greater awareness to recycling and sustainable practices. So each year we have a prompt that we give the students, and that changes, as I said, each year. And this year the prompt was, which of the 4 R's is your favorite? Before you change, Mary, go back.
Rot.
Ah, you got it. So this year we chose which of the 4 R's because many people don't realize that there are 4 R's now instead of 3 R's. And drum roll. Those 4 R's are reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. So this was the prompt that each of our students was given to help them as they created their posters. Now, another reason we're excited tonight is this year we had the most participation that we've ever had, and that is we had 11 schools that participated, and that was elementary schools, middle schools, and K through 8 schools. And we had over 600 entries from the 11 participating schools, so very exciting. And out of those 600 entries, we had the difficult job, as many of you are aware of choosing just 13 winners out of those 600 entries. So there are 13 student winners. Each winner receives a certificate of recognition and a $25 gift card. And out of those 13 winners is one grand prize winner, and they receive a certificate as well and a $50 gift card. The gift cards are to Barnes & Nobles, as we like to promote education as well. And we also like to award the school with the most student participation, and we award them with a $500 gift card to go to their art programs or another worthy program at their school. And so, at this time, we are going to announce those winners. And what I'm going to do for those parents and students that are here As I call each student, we will ask you to come up, and Anna, our recycling coordinator, will hand out your certificate of recognition and your gift card. And then we will ask that the students stand in front of the council until all names are called. And once all names are called, we will invite the council to come down and join them and take a group photo. So parents, have your cameras ready, because we're going to go through it a little quickly, but give you enough time to take pictures of your student. So our first winner is from Skycrest Elementary, Brianna Garcia, 5th grade. No? Come on up. No, picture.
And Janice, do you remember how many households these go out to? Do you know,
Oh,
40-some thousand, right?
yeah. So I did fail to mention the winners of all the winners, they are, the posters are featured on the annual calendar and service guide that is sent out to the residents of Citrus Heights. So these are our artistic scholars right now. So that was our first winner. And from Grand Oaks Elementary School, we have 2 winners. Sophia Vavranyuk, kindergarten. Isn't that an awesome picture for a kindergartner? That is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And our second winner, Adrian Gonzalez, 4th grade.
Good job.
We had 5 winners from Carriage Drive Elementary. The first is Tatum Lee, 3rd grade.
Don't be shy, you can get up closer and take pictures, it's all right.
The next one is Grace Love Johnson, 4th grade. Stephen Boone, 4th grade. Liam Sy, 1st grade. Jessica Unstemchuk, 2nd grade.
Pretty good, actually.
We had 6 winners from Sylvan Middle School. You can probably start going that way. Dominica Kula, 8th grade. Stand in one spot. Samantha Aldis, 7th grade. Ariana Rhea, 6th grade. Colette Spyru, 8th grade. Scarlett Bonifacio, 6th grade from Sylvan. Okay, and now we would like to invite the council to come down. I'm sorry, one more, I forgot. Most participation, Arlington Elementary School, for the second year in a row, had the most participation, and they will be receiving a $500 gift card. And this is the principal. The principal, Rafael Martinez. Okay, we could all take a step down this way. Okay, now let me get up.
It's like a lineup. I know, they're gonna scooch in.
Okay, one last picture. Okay, looks like everyone got them.
One more.
One more.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. Another round of applause for our winners. You can all sit down. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to grab a calendar, we do have some on the back table. And if you want an extra one to give to a family member or a grandparent or just an extra one for your home, please feel free to grab one on your way out. And just in closing, we would like to say thank you again to the Citrus Heights City Council and city staff for judging. We'd like to thank the San Juan Unified School District and the participating schools, Arlington, Cambridge, Carriage, Grand Oaks, Mariposa, and Skycrest Elementary Schools, Woodside, Kingswood, and Lichen K-8 schools, and Sylvan Middle School. Thank you all again, and congratulations to all our winners.
Jonice, not only do I want to congratulate the budding young artists and their beautiful job in winning this contest and being memorialized on a calendar, I want to thank you in particular and Republic Services in general for all you do for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along.
So our next item is presentation number 5, is a report on results of the 2017 Holiday Referral Program.
You know, if you hit F3, it goes to the slideshow. You know, if you hit F3, it goes to the slideshow automatically. Always watch you struggle.
Me?
Anybody, F3 and goes to the slideshow. You don't have an F3 on your keyboard.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and our community members. My name is Sandy Moravio. I'm the Support Services Manager for the Citrus Heights Police Department, and I'm here tonight to report on our 9th annual holiday referral program that we held and hosted during the holidays this year. So really, I'm here probably to thank the community more than anything. Each year, this is our 9th year doing the program, and our participation from the community is absolutely unbelievable. As always, we receive quite a bit of money donated. We got over $6,000 donated this year to help our community members who have had a hardship in the last 12 months. The people that we help are nominated or referred to the police department and the city to assist them with giving them a nice Christmas and a nice holiday because they've had a hardship or something tragic that's happened in their life for the last 12 months. So along with the money that we got donated, we had and worked with 90 city groups, businesses, service clubs, new businesses each year and new people each year to adopt the families and help us with the program. As well, our homeless navigator, and you'll hear from them later on this evening, we were able to help her help some of the homeless individuals and give them toiletry bags. So that was something new that we did. And then, of course, we gave out about 50 turkeys that we do every year. So the highlights are very similar from what we've done in the past. We provided toys, furniture, food, gifts, gift cards. We did our holiday referral program delivery, which some of you joined us with, and we visited the Sayonara Center as well as delivered to 3 families. The toys and the leftovers, which were pretty high volume this year, we were also able to allow our officers to go out for a couple days on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and give out lots of toys and play Santa Claus, so that was a lot of fun for them this year. As you can see on the screen, there are a lot of community participants, and we certainly will not be naming them one by one, but I do, again, want to thank this community for all the help that they did this year to help the people that are less fortunate than them. This provides a list of all of our people that joined us. And then probably the most impressive part is we've been doing this for 9 years, and this year we helped 37 families with 87 adults and 263 children, so that was about 350 people. But our totals since we began this program, we're at 2,666 folks that we've helped. So, and that's all in our community. So we're pretty proud of that number, and of course it grows every year, so it's a lot of fun to watch that number go up. And then just our last slide is just a special thank you to a lot of the people that spent a lot of their personal time that work for the city and the police department, and just wanted to recognize them. And we look forward to another year next year. And I thank the council members for assisted and joined us as well. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
And thank you for spearheading this every year.
You're welcome.
Lot
My
of work.
pleasure.
Okay, with that, we can move on to the next item.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
Brett, you go first?
Sure. Thank you very much. Had a great opportunity with most of the council here to attend the Kiwanis crab feed recently, a few days ago. And, crab. What can you say? A great time. It was fun, lots of people, lots of great items to bid on and all that fun kind of stuff. If you've never done that, treat yourself and go do it next year. I did want to take a moment to privately thank a person who's sent me a card regarding some issues, and just want to say thank you for your acknowledgement of it. Again, it's a private thing, but just wanted to publicly thank that person for taking the time. It meant a lot to me. And finally, today attended the Air Board meeting. Lots of things, but the main thing that comes out of it is that we did get a presentation on the air toxic hotspots throughout the Sacramento region. And these are spots that have particularly nasty chemicals or whatever. There's 7 of them that have been identified that are cancer causing, that different businesses use. And I'm happy to report that none of them were in the Citrus Heights area.
Oh, good. That's a relief. Is that it?
That's it, sir. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Jeff?
Thank you. Yeah, last week I attended the League of California Cities Rev and Tax Policy Committee meeting. So over the next couple of days, when the council goes to their mailbox, they'll see a bunch of copies of different bills and proposals that are coming. I picked these up down here. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I thought some of them were very interesting of what might be coming in front of the legislature in the next few months, as well as potential 2018 issues that the League has identified. So if you see that bundle of paper, it came from me. I apologize up front. Most of us attended also last Friday, the Chamber of Commerce 60th installation dinner, good event. for that. Jeannie and I took a field trip with staff in relation to some affordable housing and some issues, so that was interesting. Steve and I from the Finance Committee met with our auditor, and I believe most of you should have gotten the CAFR document in your mailbox, and I believe we're going to be seeing that on our agenda next month sometime. Last thing I wanted to mention is, and I know we're going to hear from our homeless navigator a little later, but I did want to bring to the audience's attention and those watching at home, you probably aren't going to find this magazine out there on the normal rack, but it's actually not a bad magazine. It's called Western City. It's published by the League of California Cities, and it goes out to every elected official in all the cities in California. And there's a very good 4-page article, and it's titled Citrus Heights Addresses Homelessness in a Suburban Community. So thank you, Catherine Cooley, for assisting not only with the article, but with the Navigator program. And again, I know we're going to hear from our Navigator later, but for those of you who don't get this in the mail, which is probably quite a few of you, you can go to westerncity.com, and it starts on page 20 of that, and it's actually a pretty good read to give you an idea what the Navigator program is here in town. So that's it, sir.
Thank you. And Al?
Thank you. I attended the Sioux Frost community meeting here the other night, got part of that. Very informative. Once again, she's very active. We packed one half of the conference room in the back while some other groups were on the other end, and so she'll be looking for bigger space next time. But it's been a great turnout for her, and it's a great turnout for our community because both they get to hear a lot about what's going on, and she does address those things which she knows and she's familiar with that the county is working on with the city. So they kind of get a look at the overall picture of what's going on. I attended the League of California Cities New Council Member Conference last week. Very interesting group of folks to meet with, all new council members for the most part. There were a few old timers there that some as many as 20 years on their councils, but new folks coming in from various backgrounds, different cities all over the state. Talked about a whole lot of things, but what was really interesting to me is what's focused on most people's minds right now are how the federal laws are going to impact the marijuana laws and city ordinances in California if the feds step up and start taking action against the recreational medical marijuana issues. The other one was the cost of PERS retirement to local jurisdictions. There were 2 jurisdictions that said quite simply that unless there are some changes, they will probably be bankrupt within 2 to 3 years. So that to me was a staggering look at some of the things that are coming up in our very near future, and they were very open about it and talked very openly. One of the things that I got continually, and I've received this last 2 or 3 weeks talking to business folks and talking to some folks at that conference, is that Citrus Heights has a real good reputation, that we are rooted in the history of our community. We've taken up with that, and we've built a progressive but very stable current community. And their question always is, what's happening next and where are you going? And immediately that comes to their mind is Sunrise Mall, housing, and education. And I thought it was interesting that these are folks outside of our jurisdiction who are identifying the same issues and the same things, excuse me, that we're trying to focus on. So it was a pretty good couple of weeks, I think, and I enjoyed meeting with the folks that I did and talking with them. And that's it.
Thanks, Al. Jeannie, your turn.
Thank you. The Regional Sandboard did not meet since our last council meeting, so I have no report on that. And other than attending the what's the word I'm looking for? The various meetings and community events that the others have reported on. I have nothing further to report. Events, that's the word I was looking for.
Well, I'm sorry I won't be so quick. Last Thursday morning, I covered SACOG for Mr. Slowey, and there was a public hearing on the final funding for the unmet transit needs, and there'll be another discussion, I guess, in February coming up on that. And also approved the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program related to Senate Bill 1, and the segments that were approved are I-80 throughput improvement in Placer County. I'm sure that's around where 65 comes in. Also, the Southeast Connector from White Rock Road and Douglas Road Hazel Phase 3, and Camera Road down in Elk Grove. Friday met with Philip Arndt from Comcast and got an update on what they're doing within our city. And what they are doing is upgrading everything to fiber optics, and they plan to be done by midsummer, I think. And that would make Citrus Heights one of the first cities in the Sacramento region to be fully fiber optic, at least for Comcast. And I know other companies like AT&T are not far behind. And let's see, regional transit was Monday night, nothing too earth-shattering. There was a controversial item where we declared 2051 Evergreen Street surplus property, and the only reason that's controversial is I think the city of Sacramento is interested in that for a homeless center.
Oh, yeah.
But again, our goal at RT is to do what's best for RT, and the land use issues are really reside with the city of Sacramento on that issue. So that was approved, and I think that's all I have. So we can move on.
The next item is public comment, and members of the audience may address the council on any item of interest to the public and within the council's purview, or on any agenda item before or during the council's consideration of the item. If you wish to address the council during the meeting, fill out a speaker identification sheet and give it to myself, the city clerk. When you're called to speak, step up to the podium and state your name for the record. Normally, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, with 30 minutes being allowed for all comments. And any public comments beyond the initial 30 minutes may be heard at the conclusion of the agenda, and the mayor has the discretion to lengthen or shorten the allotted times.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you, Amy. I have one speaker card, and that's for Arthur Ketterling.
Thank you, Mayor. Arthur Ketterling from Citrus Heights. I was wanting to find out, how long is, my question is, how long are they going to give to test this pilot program that we're going to be starting on the 12th of February? If I know things are very new yet. No, but I understand it's supposed to start on the 12th of February from what I was told tonight. Do you know how long that you're trying it for at all?
Did you have any other questions, Arthur?
No.
Okay. I believe 6 months. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's a 6-month pilot, and it could be continued.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it'd be a little longer than that.
All right, and one thing for sure that we do need to get out there to let people know once it does start. And I know it costs money, but radio and TV is one of them, and a word of mouth.
Yeah, good comments, Arthur. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? If not, we'll move on to the consent calendar.
The consent calendar is items 6 and 7.
I'll move approval. Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The consent calendar passes unanimously.
So the next item is number 8, public hearing. The subject is the Boulevard Plan Amendment, SPA 17-01, wall signage, and the recommendation is to adopt a resolution adopting amendments to the Auburn Boulevard Plan, reinventing the Auburn Boulevard corridor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Casey Kempenar in the Planning Division. As Amy mentioned, this is a proposed specific plan amendment to the Boulevard Plan to modify the allowed wall signage to similar to the other commercial zones in the city. As you probably recall, the Boulevard Plan envisioned a lot higher proportion of redevelopment than has occurred, and the thought process was that the signs would need to be smaller because the buildings would be close to the street. Well, that hasn't happened at this point, and we have a lot of requests for people who would like to see larger signs to be comparable with the other commercials in the city. So this amendment would make that so they are on the same level playing field as the rest of the city, where they would get 2 square feet of wall signage per 1 lineal foot of building frontage. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Casey? No questions? This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Ask anybody who'd like to comment on it, please come forward. And seeing no one running up to the mic, I will close the public hearing.
Move approval, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Casey. That was,
The next item, public hearing number 9, the subject is revised citizen participation plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program. The recommendation is to continue this item to a future city council meeting.
do you need a motion to continue?
Yes.
I move.
Second.
Motion is second to continue the item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. That was a public hearing, but we continued the item. So I think I'm okay.
Yes. It'll be renoticed when we bring it back to a future
Right.
council meeting.
Thank you. Good catch, though. All right.
The next item is regular calendar, item number 10. The subject is appointment to fill an unexpired term on the Construction Board of Appeals. And it is recommended that the city council, by majority vote, consider the appointment for the Construction Board of Appeals. We currently have a vacancy. It's a 5-member board, and we currently have a vacancy with a term ending of December of this year. We have been soliciting for that vacancy and have received an application from William Shirley. We have invited him to the meeting tonight. I don't know if he's here at the meeting tonight, but we did extend an invitation. And so we've presented the city council with his application for consideration and recommend that you consider it for appointment. Do you have any questions?
I do have to ask, is William here? William Shirley? Well, part of it's showing up. But we do have the opening, and this is not an active board as much as you'd think, so. Any questions or comments from the council?
I mean, this board hasn't met in 4 years, so good for William for putting his name in.
Yes.
I move William Shirley, even though he's not here, for the open appointment to the board.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? And the motion does carry unanimously to appoint William Shirley to the Construction Board of Appeals. Thanks.
So the next item is regular calendar, item number 11. The subject is objecting to the sale of 2 properties at public auction by Sacramento County and authorizing the city manager to negotiate the purchase. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution objecting to the sale of tax defaulted properties identified as 8244 Auburn Boulevard and 7716 Old Auburn Road, authorizing the city manager to negotiate their purchase.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Stephanie Cotter, Community and Economic Development Department. So tonight, we're here to officially object to the Chapter 7 sale of the 2 properties on the screen right here. The first one is located at 8244 Auburn Boulevard, and the second one is located at 7716 Old Auburn Road. So both properties were, the city received a notice that both properties were in tax default and were scheduled to go for Chapter 7 auction. So per the tax revenue code, we're allowed to object to the Chapter 7 purchase in order to preserve our option to purchase the properties through a Chapter 8 tax sale. So the total, the minimum price for the purchases are listed on the screen. The first one is $24,200 for 8244 Auburn, and the second one is $22,300 for 7716 Old Auburn. So after staff received the notice, we reviewed the properties and we realized that the city may want to purchase them in the future. We're not exactly sure the city can purchase them for a public purchase, for a public purpose, but actually objecting to the sale and submitting an application for Chapter 8 sale does not commit the city to purchase the properties. So this just kind of gets our foot in the door and allows us to keep this option open. So during this process, staff will continue to do our investigation, a full investigation of the properties. Our due diligence will include a complete review of the title report and environmental site assessment of the properties. And the Chapter 8 agreement to purchase would be an as-is sale. So again, this does not tie the city into purchasing these properties. This is a formality of the Chapter 8 sale that goes through the Sacramento County tax collector. So what we're asking for you to do is to officially object to the sale of the two properties through Chapter 7 sale, which then allows us to negotiate with the county through Chapter 8 for purchase. And we're also asking you to authorize the city manager to negotiate the purchase of the properties. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Stephanie, Jeff?
Not a question, but a clarification for those in the audience and those watching. This isn't an attempt by the council to start consolidating parcels throughout the city and, cities start buying up all this land. But if you look at the two roads that these properties are located on, one is Auburn, one's Old Auburn, we actually have plans on both of those roads for future widening, if you will, improvements. That Auburn is in the second phase of the Auburn Boulevard plan. And Old Auburn, we actually just got a grant to study to make some improvements there. So at the end of the day, anytime the city gets involved in widening or road improvements, we're actually having to negotiate with the property owners to buy easements along the front. So rather than do it down in the future, because these two are in tax sale, there's an opportunity for us to do it now. So that's really what we're doing. We're, one way or the other, we'd be having to purchase some portion of this property, of each of these properties, if we did the improvements. So this is a way to deal with the county and hopefully make it a different experience than possible eminent domain. So.
That was well explained, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
The next item is department reports, number 12. The subject is Navigator Homeless Resource Program report by the Citrus Heights Police Department.
And Chad, you didn't get your picture in the article. What's up with that? They got 4 officers in the pictures and not you. Okay.
He took the picture.
Mayor, City Council members, tonight we are here to present to you the update on our Citrus Heights Navigator program. Councilmember Slowey mentioned that this program has been featured in Western Cities Magazine. Thank you for that acknowledgement as part of the city's Helen Putnam Award for this program. However, that's not to say that we don't want to continually assess this program and see if it still works for us and see if it's still doing what we intend in the city and being as, making sure that we're being as innovative as we possibly can. And so, to that end, we will be bringing updates to you quarterly on this topic, both to satisfy a strategic plan goal of the councils and to keep you informed and abreast of all the developments and all the things that the Citrus Heights Police Department is doing to address homelessness in the city of Citrus Heights. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Sergeant Chad Morris, who's been working hard on this project, as well as the Citrus Heights Navigator, Tony Morgan.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk with you more about this great program, and I'm excited to be here with Tony Morgan, our Citrus Heights Navigator. Before we get started, I wanted to reiterate the fact that we're here tonight, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Chief Ron Lawrence the fourth quarter 2017 results of this great program, and as well, there was also a written report with the same results that was presented to council as well. With that, before I get started, I wanted to make you aware of one small change we've made to the naming convention that I think you'll agree with. Obviously, Tony, there's no question, Tony plays an enormous role in this awesome program, and she's done great work. However, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't take into consideration all the great work of organizations like Citrus Heights Heart, Citrus Heights Police Department, the City of Citrus Heights, Sacramento Self-Help, just to name a few. So with that, to be all-encompassing and really look at this collaborative effort, we decided to name the program HOPE. So moving forward, we hope that you'll join us in referring to the program that obviously is the Navigator's a huge part of, but refer to the program as HOPE, which is an acronym that stands for Homeless Outreach Program and Education. For the fourth quarter 2017, I have to say Tony has had amazing results. 148 total client intakes just for the fourth quarter alone. 30% of those clients are either accessing temporary or permanent housing, which is amazing, and 28 are currently in permanent housing. When we say permanent housing, this is a permanent housing of at least a year, if not more. So we're excited to see these people really thriving and getting business skills and things like that to move forward. 16 are currently awaiting housing, but they're also they're in a rapid rehousing program currently, meaning they're basically one step in the door. They've done all the preliminary work, they've followed all the rules, and they've been diligent in completing tasks that Tony's outlined for them. 81 have been identified and are awaiting housing, but the reason we broke those apart and differentiated the two is because it's important to see that these people are also doing all the things they need to be doing, but they're at a very preliminary stage in the process. So we wanted to break those apart so you could kind of see a difference between the two. But again, it's Tony's great work that's pushing these people through the pipeline, so to speak. Lastly, 23 have lost contact with the Navigator, meaning there was no return calls, emails, or texts for 30 days, and that's Tony's threshold. That doesn't mean that these people are lost to us. She's continuing to reach out to them and try to make contact. It just means that they're not part of her active list. So this 148 are total client intakes for just the fourth quarter. And with that, I'm going to let Tony expand or elaborate on any of these key points.
With the 16 awaiting housing, those are 16 people that are currently in different programs that I do have, such as the Rapid Rehousing or the Mather program. The 81 that are identified, a lot of the issues with getting housing is that we need IDs and stuff like that. So they are in the works to be assisted in, receiving an income, stuff like that, to put them into a program to assist them in getting off the streets. And then, like Sergeant Morris said, the 23 that have lost contact, they haven't completely lost contact with me. I still reach out to them every 2 weeks, or I go look for them if they don't have a form of contact for me.
Very good. In addition to Tony's push to get these people into permanent housing, she also offers a number of different services, and she's always adding to her toolkit, if you will. In the fourth quarter alone, she was able to help one individual client obtain VA identification, one obtained food stamps, 3 were assisted with resume completion, and I'm going to let her speak to that a little bit with the Mather program because I think that's fascinating. And then lastly, 2 assisted with creating email accounts, and I would like her to explain to you kind of the essence of getting people set up with these email accounts in order for them to communicate, which is key to this whole process functioning.
So with the 3 assisted with resume completion for one of my programs, it is called Mather. Part of the requirements for Mather is that you do submit a resume, because Mather is a very strenuous program that does require, or that does teach job training and stuff like that. So in order just to get into the program, you do have to have a resume. So I have helped 3 of my clients complete that to assist them towards the Mather program. With the emails, in order to do anything in life at this point, we have to have an email access. So to get SSI, food stamps, job placement, or to communicate with me alone. A lot of my clients don't have the Obama phone, the ID to get the Obama phone, but then in order to get the Obama phone, you need the ID and the EBT card. You can't get the EBT card without everything, without the email. So I've started assisting them with getting email accounts and teaching them how to actually use said email accounts.
And as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, this is very much a collaborative effort, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Citrus Heights Heart playing a huge role in this. Citrus Heights Heart is responsible for running our winter sanctuary. We don't consider this to be temporary housing. It's a day-to-day affair that gets people off the street for days at a time, which is great. It's also a awesome, if you will, a lead source for Tony to access people who really do want services. And so that's been a great source for her as far as finding the people who truly want services. And I'll let her speak to that as well. Lastly, as far as the winter sanctuary goes, I'd heard some different numbers floating around as far as how successful the program was. And I wanted to let you know that on January 20th, 20 people stayed the night at the winter sanctuary. And just so you know, 20 is the maximum capacity of that facility. Since that point, when they had 20 in there, or 20 people utilizing the facility, the numbers have remained virtually the same, 20, 19, 18, 16. So they've been bouncing very closely to the maximum capacity of the facility, and it's just great results all the way around.
So for the Winter Sanctuary, like Sergeant Morris said, it is a wonderful area for me because I am able to find the clients that do want help and do want help quickly. From the Winter Sanctuary alone, I was able to identify 2 separate clients. One is currently in the Mather program, and the other is in rapid rehousing right now. So they are both working on the way of getting out of there. Not during the fourth quarter, but obviously because this started January 1st. But with the assistance of the Winter Sanctuary, I've been able to assist 10 different people with their getting their identification. And HEART has been a great resource with that in regards to assisting them to getting to the DMV because there's 10 of them and 1 of me. So they've greatly helped with that. Along those lines, we've had 1 person get a job. We've had 3 people utilize the Sacramento Works to get resume, job training, stuff to that nature. And we have the health clinic that comes through that does assist our clients. If I'm not mistaken, we had 9 set up this past week that received different services, including mental health at the Winter Sanctuary. And then I come once a week, more often, but I come once a week to do intakes. And at the sanctuary, I'm able to assist them with other things. For example, a lot of the clients don't know how to apply for SSI. They don't know how to apply for food stamps. So after I do intakes with the clients that have not done the intakes with me, anyone that does need that assistance, I'm able to assist them from my tablet there and help them log on and help them sign up for these benefits, including SAC waitlist, which is currently open. So that's a huge benefit for us.
And I just, oh, sir?
Well, just a clarification, because I'm not sure everybody here knows HEART, what HEART is. So it's Homeless Assistance Resource Team. It's kind of a collaboration between private businesses, the city, and more importantly, the faith-based community. The churches open themselves up and they rotate. And so the sanctuaries are actually out to churches. It isn't like the city has a sanctuary that we set up. So just so if you didn't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And just to kind of piggyback on what Tony was saying, I think one of the things that's most interesting about watching her work is her creativity and just the different ideas she comes up with to pair people up in a sense who may individually not qualify for housing, but when she finds 2 people who have personalities that may mesh well, she's able to put them together and put these people in housing that may ordinarily not qualify. So it's just amazing some of the work she's doing and the creativity in her mind, and it's her energy and enthusiasm are second to none. So I'm very, very impressed with her.
Thank you.
Some couple takeaway or key points from our Navigator program is to be considered a client, the Navigator requires weekly contact. And I think this is important to remember because she requires a lot of these people. She has high expectations and she holds them accountable. Like she said, she tries to get them email addresses, gets their phones set up and so forth, because when these people don't have a permanent address when she's initially meeting them, communication is key to this whole equation working. So she, first and foremost, gets them set up with a standard of communication so they can stay in contact, and then she holds them accountable to certain goals to see how serious they are, and then works with them to better themselves as far as their dependability and things like that that are going to make them successful in these programs. And like I mentioned previously, when these people do fall out of contact or she loses contact for some reason, she makes every effort to continue to try to find them and reestablish contact, knowing that you may not get the desired result the first time, but you need to continue working towards the goal.
Yeah, with that, my clients are held up to a very high standard because I'm not going to set them up to fail. They've had a lot of failure, and they're not going to be okay with that. So I do require a lot from them. Most of them are very, very open to it. The ones that are not, we work on baby steps, okay? Where do you normally hang out? I'll see you here once a week. I'll be here on Wednesdays at 10. Can you do that? And we start with much smaller steps. The clients that seem more ready and more into it, I will require that they do talk to me at least once a week. And I don't just want to, hi, how are you doing, Tony? I need an update. If you've gone to the SAC Works just to see how it is, if you have called a rehab place, if you've, have made no effort, just let me know and we can, okay, well, why didn't you make effort this week? What happened there? Something, we all have life occur to us. Just let me know and then we can work around that. With the clients that do lose contact, I the reason that I do put them on a secondary list, that I start reaching out to them every 2 weeks instead of every week, is that way I can have a manageable caseload. I do have 148 clients as the end of the quarter, so I now have a little more than that. So in order for me to be able to actively apply the attention that each client needs, if they choose to not follow through for 30 days straight, then I start tapering off from that point.
And lastly, even though this program is somewhat in its infancy, I thought we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that it's already been recognized and received an award for excellence for housing programs and innovation, and more specifically, the Helen Putnam Award, which was awesome to see. And then, as Councilmember Slowey mentioned, Western Cities Magazine, the program was detailed, and there was a great write-up in that magazine, so I would urge you to take a look at that to learn more about the program. But just great publicity and recognition of the program. And with that, are there any questions?
Questions or comments? Jeannie?
Hi, thank you, first of all, both of you, for all your work with the homeless. Tony, do you consider, at what point do you consider your clients to have graduated?
When they're in permanent housing. But even then, say they do get the permanent housing and they're like, I really wanted to go back to school. I'm not just gonna be like, hey, I'm done talking to you. I'm like, well, here's the route you need to take, but it is, once again, your job to take that route. I'm not gonna go hold your hand for that. I'm not gonna go to the school with you. But if you do wanna better yourself in that manner, ARC is a great program, whatever college that is closest to them, or if they need to receive free GEDs, I do have a couple of resources for those too that I have no problem referring them to.
Okay, thank you. Again.
Yeah, Tony, it was nice to meet you, put a face behind the work. I have to tell you, back in November, I was down in Santa Cruz, a convention with pretty much every city in the state, and homelessness was the #1 problem in every city, from LA to the smallest city that was there, Weed, with a population of like 7,000. I think they had 10 homeless, but it was a big issue for them. So, it's a tough subject. People see folks out there, they complain to us, they complain to the CHPD. We have to kind of approach this in the right way with some compassion, and I temper that, because I'm all for helping the people that, just became homeless for no fault of their own, they lost a job, whatever, and want to help themselves, i.e. that's where you come in. You assist them in those programs. But I also know, having done this long enough, there is a certain population of the chronic homeless who don't want to be helped. They want to be homeless. They don't want to do all this stuff. And I'm fine interacting with those folks with the CHPD. But, the folks that want to be helped, appreciate all you're doing. Those numbers, compared to any other program we've done, are phenomenal. Somebody says, well, that's only 148 people, but we've never helped that many before. So it's through your interactions and, the sanctuary, meeting the people. Just keep it up. I know the sanctuary is continuing for, another couple of weeks or so. This is the rainy time, but again, I'm all for helping the people who want to help themselves and, need a temporary assist. But to the general public, there is always going to be a population that, we're going to have to continue to work on resolutions for, because, personally, if somebody doesn't want to help themselves, I don't want a lot of my tax dollars going to help them, but I don't want them camping in places where they're polluting the land, et cetera. So we got to temper that, and we're still working on that solution. So thanks. Good job.
Brett?
Yeah, thank you. Regarding the temporary housing, can you describe what you mean by temporary housing? And then, are there temporary housing resources in Citrus Heights?
So there's not directly temporary housing resources in Citrus Heights. We do have, was able to get one client into Railroad Shelter and one into A Street Shelter. We, like Sergeant Morris said, we don't consider the Winter Sanctuary as a temporary sort of housing. And at this moment, I don't currently have the hotel vouchers. But the part of the reason I don't have those is because permanent housing is such an important part when we do have the Winter Sanctuary available to us right now. So I'm trying to get as many of those people that are in the Winter Sanctuary that do want the help, that do want to get off the street, into permanent housing. But temporary housing would be anything that is not over 6 months. So anyone that in any shelter that I can get them into, VOA does have a shelter that is accessible to me, but the Winter Sanctuary is such an availability right now, and it's so close that my clients seem to prefer to go there. Even clients that I don't meet there, that, you know, I meet in outreach, I tell them about the Winter Sanctuary, and they're more willing to go there. They consider that temporary housing.
And that seems logical because you also noted that a lot of them have a connection to the community already and are probably not more receptive to, you know, heading downtown or something like that.
Precisely.
So on the sanctuaries, the winter sanctuaries, the problem I see with that, though, is that I think a big part of homelessness can be that you lose your dignity. And, you know, there's no way to clean up, there's no way to groom, you just lose it. And then at that point, who's going to hire you? And so I'm wondering, do we look at some options maybe as these people come into these winter sanctuaries to just give them the basic needs of their, you know, helping them with their dignity so that maybe we get them on that right path?
So in regards to that, the wonderful people at Heart were able to find 2 different shower locations. They are not in Citrus Heights. They are in Roseville, but we are able to, they take them over there twice a week to shower and shave and all of that sort of thing. All the host churches that are part of the sanctuary, they do provide hygiene products, clothes, toothbrush, that's part of hygiene, but clothing and stuff like that at the sanctuary itself. And then that is where I come in, and I have my clients, they feel that I am more of a friend than in charge. Because I do require that they take control of it. So when the feedback I'm getting from my clients is that it's more of an assist than a dictatorship. And so they're, on that note of, like, I'm able to get them down to the Sacramento Works to get that resume, and then to see, you know, you don't have to take the bottom of the barrel job that you don't want. You can do these other things, and assist them with that and building back up their pride, per se.
And then the final thing I wanted to talk about was pockets of homeless population. It doesn't seem like we have big pockets around Citrus Heights, but the one that I do notice is basically at the Auburn and Greenback area, and the McDonald's and stuff like that. The problem I have with that, it seems to be just ongoing. It's constant, and so that is definitely having a negative impact on those businesses there. And so I guess the point is, how do we eliminate that? How do we eliminate the pockets? Because again, I think that's extremely unfair for our businesses who are paying their tax dollars and stuff and whatnot too, to have to put up with this, is the way I'll put it. And I think sometimes businesses are fearful of even calling, you know, being the one that confronts and then calls because of some sort of retaliation. And so, are there other pockets that are identified throughout the Citrus Heights area that you know of? And do we do any kind of extra concentration on pockets?
So I can't tell you how to eliminate that. What I can do, though, is one of the best resources I would have, outside of, you know, Sergeant Morris here that has all the good ones, would be to have the business owner contact me directly and let me know where, like, what typically time they see my clients there. And then I can go through, because I do outreach and my clients know that I do outreach, where I just cruise around and look for people that would need assistance. So I could be like, hey, I was just walking, you know, I was just driving by, and totally not blame the business owner at all. And that would just, I wouldn't go into the business. I would just go out there and talk to the clients, see how I can help them, see what I can do to get them to go get the resources.
Okay, yeah. And then I guess, I don't know if you have anything else on that, but we just got to eliminate that pocket, bottom line. It's just been going on for way too long and just seems to be continuing. It's gotten a lot better, but it's still continuing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. These pockets, as we're referring to them, are problematic. There's no question. They do have a negative impact on businesses. But Tony's not in this alone. We obviously have our POP unit, and we've got some very, very creative minds with things like our CEPTEDs, which is our crime prevention through environmental design. And we're very, very active, not only speaking with our NAs about that, but also our business owners. And definitely, if they're calling us, we're right there on their doorstep to offer them suggestions and help them through some of the troubles that may be occurring just due to things as basic as just, you know, lighting or, you know, shrubbery or things like that. It sounds very basic and rudimentary, but you'd be surprised. You make a few changes and now it's not as inviting to some of those folks. And now that doesn't mean they don't get displaced elsewhere, but that's where we can kind of take care of that side of things. And then we're lucky to have Tony on the other side to kind of go in and help them with the resources. And it's not something that's gonna, you know, she's not gonna bat 1,000 every night, So it's her persistent effort that's really making her successful. And so I think together, collaboratively, that's where we're going to have our greatest success.
Okay, thank you. I had one last question. I know we mentioned 148 clients. Do we know what the actual population is, or is that close to it?
So I would say the 148, I think Tony has made some major inroads as far as, I don't want to speak to the exact numbers because I don't know for
I don't
sure.
think we know exactly.
But I've actually had this conversation with her a lot lately, and as far as the 148 that she actively has intakes on, I was trying to figure out if any of them, these ones that may drop off, that they're not lost, but they're, she's still working on them, but they may have come out of contact, so to speak. And I was surprised because I thought the number would be quite a bit higher, and she told me that plus or minus about 5. So I don't know, I can't say for sure what the total number is, but 148 she's working with actively or she's got identified, and then these 5 others that she's still trying to reconnect with, if you will. So I think it's probably not too far off of that, but that's just my most educated guess based on the data that I have currently.
Okay, well, it sounds like we have very effective use of our resources towards that.
Those are amazing results. One of the other things I wanted to bring up was I read it, I believe, in the Sentinel this week, that as far as services and helping them, have dignity and be clean and all that, there's a nonprofit that has partnered with Paradise Laundry. I think it's one Saturday a month to
First
allow
Saturday,
them to
yes,
go
ma'am.
in and the nonprofit pays the cost of laundry, washing and drying their clothes. I think that's huge.
Yes, ma'am. On that note, whenever my clients do make contact with me, it's one of my things, if they're willing to do an intake, when normally the intake's all I need to get them on my side, I give them a resource list of different things like Paradise Laundry that does allow them to come and do that. And I can give them the tip of they only do it for 3 hours, but that means cutoff is at 11. So you need to be in there at 8. So you're going to have to wake up early that day. And then, we'll go about well, you don't have a cell phone, which means you don't have an alarm. So how are we going to get you up early that day? Stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I just want to applaud them also for being willing to set that time aside so that the homeless people can come in and do their laundry there.
Absolutely.
Al?
Yeah, thank you. During my time at the conference, at the new council members conference, when I was talking to folks about the homeless issue, I'm surprised at the number of jurisdictions that really do not have the active type program that we do here. And when you talk about the successes that we've had to identifying those folks, working with them, trying to get them the assistance and back on their feet so they try to help themselves rather than just leaving them in the community, was amazing. Their responses are unbelievable. Really, how do we find out? Where do we go? Those types of things. So when I've talked to them, I said, some of the things you need to do is look at the Navigator program in Citrus Heights. Look at the things that have been written up about the success of the program. So if you start getting phone calls and they start wanting to know more information, I did say that, but it's not my fault if you're inundated with too many calls, because there's a lot of folks out there in other jurisdictions that are really interested in how you do your job and why it's so successful. So thanks.
Thank you.
Well, let me wrap up by personally thanking you, Tony, and your colleagues as well for all you do. It is really appreciated. Thank you very much. And with that?
Sergeant Morris as well.
Oh, the staff, they know I'm appreciative of it. That goes without saying.
Thank you.
Chad?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So the next item is city manager items, and there are none. The next item is items requested by council members or any future agenda items.
Anything? Nope. That's it, huh?
There are no further items.
We're adjourned.